Welcome to the Tammi Mac Late Show on Fox Soul. We are embarking on another week to live out our dreams, baby. I am Tammi Mac. What is going on? So Langston Hughes once asked, what happens to a dream deferred? Does it dry up like a raisin in the sun or fester like a sore and then run? As children, we're told that if we work hard and have faith, we can have and be anything we want in life. But somewhere during adulthood, our dreams of doing great things are cast to the side. I don't know. Maybe we decided it just wasn't worth the fight. Maybe we decided to focus our attentions on our family. Maybe it's because we never saw the possibility of living out that dream in people who look like us. Or could it be systemic racism that hinders our confidence? Witnessing the failures of others? Could it simply be listening to people tell us that our dreams are ridiculous, that they're too big? Wake up! Or could it all be summed up in one word? Fear. Tonight, the business of being Black on the Tammi Mac Late Show is Black folks' fear of living out their dreams. And who better to talk about it than some people who have not only cast aside their fears to achieve success, but can attest to the fact or the fear that lies within others living out their own dreams. Please welcome actor and artist Richard Lawson. Hey, Richard. Casting director, executive producer, and director Tracy Twinkie Bird. Writer, director, and producer Don B. Welch, and licensed psychologist and co-pastor of the Experienced Christian Ministries, Dr. Shalonda Crawford, aka Dr. Sunshine. So y'all know it's about to be lit anytime I got somebody named Dr. Sunshine on the show, right? So the first question I ask each and every night, and Richard will start off with you answering the question, why should Black people care about living out their dreams?
Well, listen, all we have are our dreams, or we have the mundane life of just coping and getting by. When you grew up in this world, not a lot of people told you to dream, and not a lot of people let you know that it was okay for you to dream or that you must dream. It was all about survival. And yes, was it systemic racism? Absolutely, because it came from people who were denied the ability to dream. And that generationally was passed on from generation to generation. So somebody had to break that. Was it you? Was it me? And knowing my family, I dreamed at a very young age, and my mother never told me it wasn't a good thing to dream. She encouraged me to dream. She didn't exactly know how to help me achieve that because she worked 16 hours a day for 16 years. But luckily enough, I had the gumption that I think came from my great-great-grandfather who bought himself out of slavery. He had a dream. And that passed on through my genes. I dreamed young, and I've never stopped dreaming.
All right now, Dr. Sunshine, why should Black people care about living their dreams?
Well, I think achieving a dream is just an extremely important thing. I have to agree with Mr. Lawson, but I also think that we need to distinguish and identify first what, the fear is, and how we approach it, how we look at what fear is. I think it's important to achieve a dream simply because you ain't going nowhere if you don't know where you're going. You have to have the end game in order to get there. How do you map out where you're going if you don't have an end destination? So you have to have a dream in order to get to the place where you're trying to go. Don't know where you're going.
Don B. Welch, why should Black people care? Living your dreams. Why do I have to live my dream? Why can't I just live?
Well, you can do that. But at the end of the day, what is it really about? I mean, the fact of the matter is, something that Richard said made me think about my own growing up and with my family, my mother, my grandmother, and my stepdad. I was fortunate enough to be told at a very early age that there was nothing that my brother and I couldn't do. If we really wanted to do it, we could do it. Now, of course, that's kind of like what families say a lot of times, but you grow up with that instilled in your mind and in your brain, and even in your heart. And then you begin to say, you know what, I'm going to go for it. To me, it's that we should care, because that is exactly what we have to hold on to. It goes back. He kind of he kind of spoke about a lot of things with the whole thing with the systemic racism, all that stuff. It comes into play with that. But it's that foundation a lot of times at home, if you're fortunate enough. And then some people aren't, some kids aren't, where they didn't have that at home and they had to learn it somewhere else, maybe sometimes trial and error, or just growing up and dealing with certain situations. But it is very, very important, and we should all care, not just us, but everybody should care that Black people care or should want to care, literally.
Twinkie, why? Why should Black people care about living their dreams?
If we didn't live in our dreams, there would be no pyramids, no open heart surgery. There would be no Washington, D.C. There would be no hair care products. There would be no, so many inventions originated in a dream. So there are so many things that we have done and still do. We were the best swimmers. We are the Eve gene. We are the dream. So it's a part of us, and some part of us at times have been broken or splintered in middle passage. But even then, the dream would be there in ways like creating quilts, or being the best braider, or having a particular recipe that's very special to this one person or this one location. So we have always been dreamers. Mm-hmm. It's just how big.
Ooh, we are the dream.
We
are the dream. What? Yes. So I want to talk about something Dr. Sunshine tapped into, and that's without a dream, there's no vision. You have to have somewhere to go. So then I have to ask, what is the difference between a dream and a plan? Are they one and the same, Dr. Sunshine? I keep wanting to call you Dr. Crawford, but
you know what? Either one works. Whatever makes you feel comfortable. They're both me. All right. Both of them are me. I think you first have to have a dream, and it's very important, as we've discussed, but you can't achieve a dream without a plan. And when you are planning out, like how do you get there? You have to know the steps to get to where it is you're going. And then you have to hunker down and be prepared for the process. Many people don't achieve the dream simply because they're not prepared or will not and cannot endure the process. So there's a process that you have to endure and go through. But first you need the plan. What are the steps that you're going to have to take to get there? See the vision, write it down, make it plain, and then plan it out so that you know where you're going. You can't arrive unless you know where you're going.
That's actually biblical.
That's actually biblical.
Mr. Lawson, the difference between a dream and a plan, can you have one without the other?
Well, I'm with Dr. Crawford that, a dream needs a plan. But, what Don said, that it's an invention. No, Twinkie was talking about inventions. Your life is an invention. It's not following you could either be living in your fate, which usually you're a victim of your fate, or you are creating a destiny. And this destiny is directly attached to a purpose. What is your purpose? If you understand your purpose, then you have GPS because you know where it's going. Without GPS, you're on an adventure. You wind up anywhere. With GPS, you have a very specific target that you are moving towards, and it is driven by a purpose that's like Halley's Comet. It has a light that can never be put out. Once you're clear about your purpose, your body can fall away and die, but your purpose continues to live. Dr. King, Malcolm X, Gandhi, all the people, so many other people who have a real clear purpose, and therefore it's larger than life. Listen, if your dream is not laughable, then it's not worth the fame that you're seeking.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh.
Yes.
Whoa. Whoa.
Yes.
Let's talk about the American dream and the idea that anyone can succeed if they put their best foot forward. You know, just pick yourself up by the bootstraps. Forward. Obviously, we all know the quote Martin Luther King Jr. saying, look, it's very insensitive to tell a man to pick himself up by the bootstraps that doesn't have bootstraps. So the question becomes, is this theory true for everyone, or does it only exist for white people, Twinkie?
I would say that there are different roads. It can be done differently. There are different roads, and it's also very interesting because right now, it's very interesting. That's an awesome question, because right now I am diverse in my career and in what it is that I do for a living. I diversified my portfolio, as it were. I took a pivot with Mr. Lawson. I took a pivot and I opened up and directing and producing and became an author and all of those wonderful things. But I also find it quite interesting, especially after a phone call I had this weekend, that there are people that do the one thing that I do, that's part of my job, my career, and do that so well, they make six figures. And for me, it has not necessarily been the case, because as part of the machine, there's not as much work for me to do six figures in that regard. So for me, I'm diverse, and it's so funny because so many people are watching, and so many people are now telling me how many people are watching, but I'm realizing my people have to be diverse because A, we're exceptionally talented and amazing, but B, because there are so many roadblocks a lot of times that we have to take a number of different roads.
Yeah. If this pandemic has showed us nothing, it showed us that we do definitely have to take different roads, but it's not that easy for some people. And that's why this show is about fear today. It's the fear that paralyzes people from living out their best and biggest dreams. We are going to talk about that fear when we return on the Tammi Mac Late Show on Fox Soul. Don't go anywhere. Soulmates, I see you in the chat. I'm coming to you next. Welcome back to the Tammi Mac Late Show on Fox Soul, where we are talking about the fear of living your dreams today. Please welcome actor and artist Richard Lawson. Hey, Richard.
Hey.
Casting director, executive producer, and director Tracy Twinkie Bird. What's up, Miss Bird?
What's up? What's up?
Writer, director, and producer Don B. Welch. Hey, Don B.
Good evening.
Licensed psychologist and co-pastor of the Experience Christian Ministries, my church, I might add. Dr. Shalonda Crawford, aka Dr. Sunshine. Listen, if you want more of this content, it's really simple. All you have to do is go to foxhole.tv, or you can go to our YouTube channel and make sure you click like, make sure you click subscribe, and then give us those thumbs up so we can know how we're doing here on Fox Soul. As speaking about the YouTube chat, let's go grab some. Let's see where I can start here. Oh my. Okay, hold on. Now, I got to go all the way up. This is a lot. Okay. Let's start with this one. I remember when I first met Twinkie, I called her Tweety. She said, "No, boo-boo, that's a bird. I'm Twinkie." She was a good sport about it, though.
That's true. Get it right.
Inside Reed's World says, "What a great panel." Then we have, let's see, the fear is losing. Okay. I think this is Incog says, "The fear is losing it all since many Black folks don't actually come from much. A stable job has a visible ending, but a risk does not. It's the fear of the unknown and not being able to bounce back." For most people, that is what it is. Listen, let's be honest about this thing here. My grandparents were teachers. And back when my grandparents were, growing up, they were taught and told to be teachers. And then my parents were teachers. And so it seems like every generation, there's something specific for Black folk to be able to do. And we really don't know what to do outside of those things. I'm sure in Detroit, your parents would have grown up in the automobile industry. I know in Houston, my father and my uncles all grew up in the oil companies. It's because it's what's there, it's readily available, and you can support your family and have what they call an honest living. So I understand what this soulmate is saying when he says, if we live out our dreams, is there a visible ending to that, Richard?
It's interesting because we mentor 90 kids, the Angels and Warriors program, Teenage Angels, Richard's Warriors. And these kids all live in South Central. And when we first get them, because our whole thing is about dream, my whole thing is about dream. Twinkie came to class and she was doing one thing. She found her purpose in class and she pivoted and now she's doing many things. But the main thing about her is that her spirit has been fertilized. Her spirit has been
unleashed.
Unleashed. That's a good one. And with these kids, it's about unleashing their imagination. Pointing out other things, introducing them to things that they'd never even considered before. And so those kids who started out in the beginning said, I don't know, when you ask them what their dream was, now can give you a whole dissertation on what they see for themselves and what they want to do and how they create it, because we have created this space for that imagination to occur.
But how do you get the fear up out of somebody from South Central who only thinks that is the limit?
Well, to be honest, hopefully every kid will find some kind of a mentor. It takes somebody to show you that. You're not just going to find it by the side of the road. It's somebody has to care. And that's where it's up to us as Black people to understand that we have a responsibility to give a hand up, to find kids to mentor, to be of service. It's the greatest thing there is in this world for you to be complete as a human being, is to be of service. Be of service to Black children and help them to see more, think more, expand their possibilities so they're not limited by their zip code. Most kids are limited by their zip code, where they grew up. And if there's nobody in there saying there's more, here, take a look at this. That's very important.
That's very important.
And it's through art. It's through art. That's why I'm an artist. It's because the fact that my voice is greater through art than it is in any of politics, and I'm an educator as well, through art. And that helps to expand people's minds and helps people see possibilities.
And so many kids feel, even though they may have talent or aspire to do things and be something, that they don't even deserve it. That they don't deserve it.
Good point.
And so there isn't anybody around saying you deserve it, which is why, and listen, sometimes it doesn't happen in the home, unfortunately. Sometimes it happens outside. It happens by going to the Richard Lawson studios or something like that, where they can get into a room where there are other kids that come from different areas, but everybody wants to succeed but don't know how. And you have somebody there showing them. You'd be surprised at so many talented people who don't rise to the next level in what they're doing, not just entertainment, but in any career, because they don't think that they deserve it. No one says
Don
to
B,
you.
I want to stay on you for a minute here. I want to stay on you here for a minute, Don B, because I know that you walked away from your job.
Yes.
To become a writer, producer, and director, which look, you are the most popular director and playwright in Los Angeles, California. And some of your plays have gone to television and to film. And so what knocked the fear out of you quitting your job? And I have to add, You weren't 15 when that happened. You didn't have like a job at McDonald's and quit.
Hey, listen,
and I say that because one of our soulmates said, "Are you ever too old to dream?" And so that's why I bring you into this conversation right now.
No, you are never too old. The only time you're too old to do anything is when you shut your eyes for the last time and there's no more breath. You're right. I did do those things because I knew I had more that I wanted to do, and it really did become. It still started at home with I just happened to have parents that said you can do anything, and so there was fear, but you have to get beyond that because you will never know. What I didn't want to do was be the age I am now and say, I wonder what would have happened if I had tried this or tried that. I'll tell you a quick story. When I moved here in 2000, female singer friend of mine took me to a party. There was a lot of celebrities. I didn't really know anybody but her at the time, really here. And she introduced me she said, oh, this is my friend Don Welch from Philadelphia. He's a writer and director. Now, this other actress was a little tipsy. And she said, television or film? And I said, no, actually theater. And she laughed and she said, well, you're in the wrong town, honey. This is a theater. This is a television and film. Now, my friend, she felt bad hearing this, didn't know what to say. But I remember looking at this actress and in my mind saying two things. One, I'm going to make you respect theater. And two, you're going to work for me. And guess what? She did. And she has. And we cool because I never brought it up again. But I had that already inside of me that I was going to do what I had to do. I didn't want to say, now look, were you working for me? No, I just had it in me. And the fact of the matter is, a lot of times we don't think we deserve the next level of something because nobody's telling us, nobody's instilling into us. We don't know a place. Listen, how many people don't know what they're doing over there at the Richard Lawson studio? They don't know. But they're finding out, they're reaching out to these kids who probably never thought that they would be in a situation where they would not only be around this type of environment, but can escape what they're going through at home.
Dr. Sunshine, I want to get to you here. One of our soulmates says sometimes you have a plan, but it's derailed by external circumstances like family issues or workplace issues. How do you pull the dream out when things are happening in your life? And we're living in the midst of that today with this pandemic. We have family members dying. We have people who've lost their jobs. We're homeschooling our kids where we ain't never had to see our kids for 24 hours in a whole damn day. So this is like, we are living literally in that time. How do you pull out from that? How do you continue to live a dream in a world that you did not plan?
It is literal determination and tenacity. Anything worth having is worth fighting for. And if your dream, and let me just say this, just to go back a little bit, this stuff is scary. It absolutely, if your dream doesn't scare you, then your dream is not big enough. And if your dream is big, it's a sign that you have something to contribute to many, probably the world. So why wouldn't there be obstacles in your way to prevent you from doing that? Why do we get stuck there? Because we're not in a mode to roll with the punches. We gotta, when we're knocked down, we gotta get back up, dust ourselves off, and keep it pushing. If you study successful people, you find out that all of them have had barriers and obstacles. All of them have had failures. They've all overcome great things. If you look at this panel, beginning with yourself, we can all talk about what we had to overcome in order to get to where we got to go. So what do? When I reach a closed door, I go looking for another opening somewhere, or I'm kicking the door, waving the floor. If I know where I'm going, then there's nothing that can stop me from getting there. And the dream is not too big. The belief and the confidence has to start here first.
These commercials are not going to stop us from talking about big dreams. So let's take a break and we'll come right back on the Tammi Mac Late Show on Fox Soul. Don't y'all go nowhere. We're going to be here. Back to the Tammi Mac Late Show on Fox Soul. So we are talking about dreams, but more importantly, the fear of living your dreams. Richard, you have said that Black people have been discouraged to have dreams and are told instead to be realistic.
Yeah. Listen, when I first got into the business, I started acting March 7th, 1969. So technically, this is my seventh decade in working in the business. And, and the horizon was blank. It was the Sahara Desert. There were no oases out there. So there was nothing encouraging. There was nothing that said, this business is for you. What I understood right from Jump Street was that I had to create my own oases. I had to go out and get it. I had to dig my own holes, find my own water. And once I understood that, which was from day one, I had no problem with it. This is the game. I'm going to play it because no is a motivator. One of the first things you learn coming to my school is dreams don't have expiration dates. So there ain't no end to it. You understand? It's just about me seeing what it is, understanding why I want to do it, and let me get after it. You understand? I'm not going to listen to what other people's experience was. I'm not going to complain about it. I'm going to find a way. I'm going to create a plan and keep my eye on that target out there and then put my head down one day at a time, and I'm moving. Because you can't stop me, because I know what I'm doing. I know where I'm going. You don't have enough money. You don't have enough power to stop me.
I love it. I love it.
Realistic, Tammi, honestly, if we go realistic, would there be a Barack Obama, a Michelle Obama? Realistic. I'm sure that, President Obama, as a Black man, not popular nationally, probably popular in the political world, maybe in the state of Illinois, but I hadn't heard of him before he ran. I was disconnected from politics. But imagine if he had settled for realistic or not been, had any fear. I'm sure, knowing what they were up against, seeing himself, his big dream, and continuing to move forward with that. I'm sure there was fear there, right? I'm sure. We can't settle for realistic. Right.
Well, Dr. Sunshine, I want to stay with you real quick on this. What is mindset conditioning and how has it trained Black people to behave to our own detriment?
Ooh, here we go.
Mindset conditioning. Well, let's put it this way. There is a systemic mentality that we as Black people have been served up on a platter. So, the difference between our plight and our journey and our obstacles towards our dreams are different from other races. I'm only going to speak for the Black plight because that's where I am and that's what I know. We are up against oppression, repression, suppression, all the pressions, because that's what we've been served up on a platter. So we've been told that we can't do it. And so there is a mindset that kicks in. And before you even get started on your journey, you're already thinking, it's a good possibility that I can't do it. And so we began to look forward to defeats and losing and obstacles and roadblocks. And then we become comfortable with motion instead of action and, just doing something to feel good instead of actually getting one step closer to the big dream. So then
mindset conditioning is becoming comfortable with the fact that it's unavailable to us?
Well, it's easier for us to feel like we're doing something than to embrace that we're not. Yeah, that's more comfortable. That's a more comfortable space to be in. It's also the place that we've been taught we belong in. So I'm happy for shows like this to give us a platform to say, hey, you can do this. You can do this, and you can do this in spite of the fact that you feel scared. And Tammi, that really is the crux of what we're talking about here. Fear. The truth of the matter is what we are in many instances is afraid. And we should take a moment to separate the difference between being afraid and fear. Afraid is what we are. That's our feeling. But fear is what we do in response to being afraid. We either do something or not do something because of fear. But when you move in spite the fact that you're afraid, that's where bravery kicks in. That's where bravery kicks in.
I feel you. I feel you moving. I feel your energy. Let's go.
Because I gotta get in here like the double dutch rope. I gotta jump in and get in this spot right here and just say also too that we're good at knocking each other down.
Yes.
We have to really be careful about the company we keep.
Yes.
Because some of that company, even in the church, even in the job, even in
your family.
Even in the family. Yep.
Yes.
That's right, Don. Some of that company that we keep, they are not prepared for us to move up, move forward, move on. They are not prepared mentally for us to do something that either they wanted to do or they don't think we should do it. So it is the company, as much as we talk about it in RLS, Richard Lawson Studio, your network is your net worth. You have got to look at your network. And some of those people are going to have to get off your.
That's right.
So Don B, speaking to what Twinkie just said, could the fear also be in your network? So like, let's say, for instance, I'm from the hood. I grew up around, hood girls, and my fear is leaving that crowd to go to a different crowd that I don't know how they'll receive me. I don't know what they're about. So then maybe my fear lies in the comfortability of being where I am.
Yes.
Don?
Well, you have to dare to dream. And you have to be in a position of having everything open to you and of acceptance, letting things come in. You got to be real careful about your circle in general. Whether it doesn't matter really where you come from, it's how I could be giving you something and you could be giving me something. Just because I'm not from where you are or you're not from where I am doesn't mean I have to exclude you. It's really about just opening up and listening. A lot of times we don't really just listen, we just talk. We don't listen to what that person is saying or what their needs is, much less your own. I just really feel that it doesn't really matter where you come from. It's really about daring to dream and surrounding yourself like-minded people. And even when they're not like-minded, because you can have disagreements, but you still want to have people in your circle, because a lot of times it is somebody right next to you, unfortunately, that is a hater. And I hate saying that, but it's true.
I want to go to our soulmates real quick. And Richard, I'm coming to you. Let's see what these soulmates are up to. Multi up north says, there it go. I was making 6 figures doing construction and left it to become an actor. First day on set, I did a stunt and became SAG-AFTRA and never looked back. Vanessa Williams says, find a way to live your dreams. You're never too old.
Ever.
That's right, Vanessa.
Never too old.
Not ever.
Dee Foster Smith says, I always tell young people when I speak that I didn't dream big enough because I've exceeded all of my dreams, but I haven't achieved as much as I would have liked. So I continue to dream. Richard, let's talk.
Listen, mindset conditioning is real. It is real. So is mindset reconditioning.
Oh, okay.
Because we have to understand that the game ain't fair, that it was set up, that we read their books, that all the celebrations that they put in place were ill-fated and wrong. They had us celebrating the wrong thing and for the wrong reasons, and they didn't tell us the whole story.
Right.
In Africa, you understand, we came from kings and queens. We had a mindset conditioning that was going on, and there were haters that sold some of us into, to make profit.
Yes.
But today, there are those of us who understand generational wealth. We have to teach others. There are those of us who understand creating a space where art can occur. We have to teach others that. We have to teach our kids. We have to teach our friends. We have to find friends who believe that and then spread that, just like they did in the voting. That was mindset reconditioning. That sister in Georgia taught people how to mindset recondition. That's why we got those votes. And
Yes.
going forward, we better really jump on it now, because 2 years from now, it's going to be warlike.
Be
Yeah.
critical.
Be warlike.
It is going to be warlike in
Come
2022.
on.
You are absolutely right. They are going ham. Look, they're already talking about not, making it illegal to hand out water and chairs while people are voting in line down there in Georgia. They're talking about redistricting. So you're absolutely right.
And they are suffering. They are suffering from mindset conditioning because their minds have been conditioned.
Yes, they have.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right.
We have a question for you. I teach a 10 to 11-year-old I teach 10 to 11-year-old Black and brown kids who have already been told they can't by parents and previous teachers and internalized it. It's tough to get them to see themselves the way I do. Do you have any suggestions?
Woo, books.
That's to all of us, yeah?
Books.
Yes. I absolutely to all of you.
It's again, that's the systemic oppression. Their parents and grandparents have been told they can't do it, and they're passing that fateful gift down.
Yes.
I would just like to say, dream big. If you want to reach your fullest potential, encourage your children to dream and go for as much as they can. Make the dream as big as possible.
So Twinkie, you say book. Go ahead, Don.
It's kind of hard sometimes for a child to imagine.
Hold that thought, Don. We're going to go to break. We got to go to break. The conversation's just rolling. We're going to go to break. We'll come right back on the Tammi Mac Late Show on Fox Soul. Thank you for joining us on the Tammi Mac Late Show. Listen, I believe that I have lived many of my dreams, and I want that to be available to everyone. And so I love this show tonight about living your dreams and why Black people fear living out their dreams. With us, we have writer, producer, director Don B. Welch, also actor and artist Richard Lawson. We've got casting director, writer, producer, she everything now, y'all, Twinkie Bird, and also psychologist Dr. Sunshine. Thank you all for being here. Don, you were going to say something on the break. Did you hold on to that thought?
Yeah, it's sometimes hard for a child to be in a certain environment at home where there's no encouragement at all, and especially during the pandemic because they can't even get it from school. So I was thinking about that question myself, like, what do you do? Because if you're constantly being told you're not going to do this, you can't do this, forget it, go do this instead, or don't do anything, or follow what I did. It's really hard for a kid growing up to get in their minds anything really positive, or that I can be something, when all they are surrounded by at the home, maybe at the home, not every home, is that negativity. It's really hard to get out of that. And you say read books, but
that's
nobody's
why
giving them books.
Because books,
but you gotta
have
somebody that's going to give them the book.
That's true.
And they're not getting it,
and we need to share
because of their environment, and they're not even in school. They're being
know what you're explaining, Don? You're explaining or you're laying out the importance of those of us who can, because we do have the pathway to success, the pathway to trying and reaching at least some levels of success. We have an obligation to our people to be that. Absolutely. And you are right, there are some of us that are in a position where they cannot. They are still in so many ways oppressed. But if you are a person that can, then you have an obligation to be the change agent for a person you may or may not know is even watching or looking. So I think that is an important, and and back to the point about whether or not we're talking about children, but older people, are you too old to dream? I think we need to employ a little wisdom there. No, you're not too old to dream, but a little wisdom. Like, you got to adjust that thing. Like, you can't have the same dream of, being a rapper at 60. You got to adjust that. Now, you might want to, start writing
look, if you're never too old to dream,
right?
Can I dream being a rapper at 60? I don't know.
At 60, but I don't know what happened.
Then you're gonna have to plan how you're gonna pave that road and be bold enough to be the original person of that. But it's still gonna take some. It's still gonna take some adjusting.
Twinkie, you say books, and this particular woman is asking for suggestions to get these kids to shift their mentality. So, which means that she has access to them. So your suggestion is for her to give them books. Books on what?
Graphic novels. You can give them everything from graphic novels to it's about the imagination, and it's about exercising that imagination muscle. It's about seeing pictures in your head and reading inspirational stories, short stories, graphic novels about superheroes, which are us, and everything in between, because superheroes are
us. Richard, you deal with kids in your program all the time. How does this woman handle these kids who have zero motivation or believability in themselves because of their parents and teachers?
Well, we have to spend in. I have a young artist program in Richard Lawson Studios, and then we have on the nonprofit side, Angels and Warriors. And in both programs, we have to educate our kids. So that if a kid comes, is 168 hours in the week. A kid is with us from 2 to 4 hours a week. That's 164 hours. They go back into the same kind of suppressive thinking. We have to talk to our parents. We have to help our parents. We have to help our parents understand what kind of space needs to be set up to give this kid a chance to have some space, to organize time where they can have some peace to study. So it's not just teaching the kids, it's teaching the kids and supporting the parents and understanding what's necessary to give this kid an opportunity. This
portion of the conversation reminds me of the movie $1 Million Baby with Hilary Swank. When she gets all of this money from becoming a professional boxer, then she goes and buys her mother a house, and her mother is pissed at her and says, "Why would you do that? You're going to mess up my government money."
Right.
That is the mentality that some of these kids are dealing with when it comes to being Black. Even though in $1 Million Baby, she was white, her mama was white, so white folk deal with it too. But on this show, I like to deal with our people, our Black people, because it seems to hurt us more than any other ethnicity. Let's see, our soulmate said, "I did 15 years in prison, went away as a 15-year-old. And felt like I didn't belong because I had a past. But my goal is to do something that will outlive me for years and years to come." So
awesome.
Take your knowledge and help other young kids to deal with recidivism. Help, listen, there's a brother named Shaka Sinkur who spent a great deal of time in prison. I know him. Yeah. He is doing more right now to help brothers to make the transition. So you have knowledge, use your knowledge, help other young, ex-cons to make a transition. Hook up with Shaka and let him teach you how to do that. You are valuable to this community now. And so use your knowledge to educate and to support and to empower.
Listen, soulmates, there are no wasted experiences. Mr. Lawson is absolutely correct. Every experience that you've ever endured is valuable. It's worth something. And again, we have an obligation to take the hurt, the pain, the victories, and the joys, all of it, and give it back. When you find meaning in those hurtful, painful, tough experiences when you gather them together and give them back. That's where the purpose really is. So, Mr. Lawson, I'm with you. I'm totally with you. You and apply that.
We may need a part 2 to this, because my thought, a lot of the people in the chat saying, what happens if, you get family, or you have all of these financial concerns? And my thing about financial concerns is really going to hurt some people's feelings. I personally believe that people live above their means, and it forces them to have to pay for things that are totally unnecessary, which diverts them from living out their dreams. Right. So, I mean, you really have to prioritize where your dream lies. I mean, do you really have to have a Mercedes? A car just gets you around.
Right.
I mean, answer those questions for real. Let's prioritize.
Red bottoms. Do we have to have a Birkin?
Do we have to?
See,
I'd like to, but do we have to? We're going to take a quick break. We're coming right back and wrapping up the show, y'all. Can you believe it? We're wrapping up the show. We're going to take a quick break and come right back to the Tammi Mac Late Show on Fox Soul. Welcome back to the Tammi Mac Late Show on Fox Soul, talking about why Black people fear living out their dreams, with some people who have definitely lived out their dreams. Twinkie, you lived out your dreams from being a casting director all the way to a book author, channeling Becky. You want to tell us about it?
I am an author. Oh, wow. Thank you for the graphic. Appreciate it. Yeah, that's a casting director in Hollywood's breakup, breakdown, and breakthrough.
I'm most proud of your work on The Counter, but go ahead.
Thank you so much. The Counter 1960, we just screened again. It's been 3 years. The Counter 1960 originated in Richard Lawson's class, and my co-writer, producer, Ashley Jackson, who is the Reverend Jesse's youngest daughter, she was the catalyst for turning it into a real short film. Oh no.
Now she's calling you now. Dr. Sunshine, how can people reach out to you if they need help and assistance with living out their dreams and moving past their fear?
Thank you so much for asking. So they can hit me up on my website, which is lifebrightnow.com, or on Instagram at the Dr. Sunshine. I'm open, willing, and available.
Okay, Richard, you got a lot going on, this amazing theater center called the Waco. You want to tell us about that? You want to tell us about the mentorship program? I mean, you can talk about it all. Well, give us one thing.
Waco Theater Center is a place where art can occur, wacotheatercenter.com. There's also Richard Lawson Studios at studio.richardlawson.net. You can learn about my school, and just Google me, because I do have a lot going on, and you'll see and read about it all up there. You can hit me on Instagram at Mr. Richard Lawson, or you can find me. I'm fine.
You can find him. And Don B, look, I know that you're just coming off of one of your stage productions that was live on one of the digital platforms, which, look, let's face it, that's all anybody been watching is digital platforms lately. That is where life is breathing right now. So what should we look forward to from you?
Yeah, I'm excited about that. It's on UMC, which is now all Black, starring Vanessa Williams and Dorian Wilson and so many other wonderful actors and actresses. I also have a partnership right now with a film production company in Atlanta, and my partner is Mr. Bill Duke. So we're happy about what could possibly come from that. And hopefully I can get back to the theater stage. I love film and television, but I'm never leaving theater. So I want this stuff to open back up so I can, get back on stage. And you can find me on Instagram at Don B. Welch.
And I want to ask both Richard and Don, because we've got about a minute here, but I want to know, how do you, you have the Waco Theater, Richard, and there's no theater right now. Don, you do theater productions once a month, and there's no theater right now. How do you adjust?
Well, we pivoted. This is virtual.
Yeah.
We have a virtual platform now, and we're expanding that. So even though, with the theater, you can only have 100 asses in the seats, or in Don's productions, maybe 1,500. But I'm trying to get 10,000 eyeballs on it through the digital platforms, because I've always had a global concept.
Don?
That was a great idea that Tammy, really quick. That was a great idea that one of my buddies, Brett Disney, came up with over at All Black when he decided to do the whole thing virtually with the stage play, because I didn't know what I was like, what are we going to do right now? We know with theater, but opening up that you have to find something else. You got, like Richard said, you got to move on to, you don't stop. You just move on to something else and keep it going until you can get back to that.
Hey, here's my expression. You got to turn chicken shit into chicken salad.
Woo!
Yeah.
And there it is.
Anybody have
on that note, we are going to roll up on out of here. Thank you, Richard. Thank you, Don. Thank you, Twinkie. And thank you,
Tammy.
Sunshine. Until tomorrow, it's a blessing to be in your box on the Tammi Mac Late Show on Fox Soul. Bye, y'all.
See you later.
Chicken shit in the chicken.